Hello, hello. Happy, happy Tuesday. I am coming on live. This is Julie with Balanced Life with Julie, regenerative health practitioner, holistic nutritionist. As you can see, I have a new background today. I am in Vancouver, and so I wanted to come on live for a couple of reasons. Number one, I was not able to make my live yesterday because I was traveling. And today's topic, I'm going to be revisiting regulating your nervous system because the video, unfortunately, from last week wasn't great quality. And I would really love to get this information out there in terms of what it means to regulate your nervous system, why that's important. And I got to experience this firsthand yesterday as I was traveling. I'm one of those people where traveling, getting on a plane always makes me a little bit nervous and it makes me anxious. So that tends to stress my nervous system out. And so consequently, I got to Vancouver, and of course, I had my body was like really, really tense, and I had to utilize some of my tools to help calm my body down, regulate my nervous system, so that I could, number one, feel good, and also be, functioning, functioning at my prime. So, what does it mean to regulate your nervous system? Why is it important? So there are different aspects of our nervous system. There's our fight or flight response, which is the sympathetic nervous system. And then there's the rest or digest response, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. And the fact of the matter is that when your body is in a heightened stress response, it actually affects how your body functions overall. So if you're someone who is in some level of stress all the time, the nutrients, like the foods that you're eating, the nutrients aren't absorbing properly into your body. It's affecting your gut health, it's affecting your hormones, it's affecting every single process in your body. And if you're somebody who is struggling with a chronic health issue and your nervous system is all out of whack, meaning that you're in a state of fight or flight all the time, even it's going to slow down how your body heals. And it's going to make it harder for you to actually support your body on the health journey, because everything that you're going to be doing, it's the way I like to describe it is it's like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, and you're trying to go somewhere, but you can't get anywhere because your foot is on the gas and the brake. And so it is really, really important to have practices in place that help regulate your nervous system. So you probably, maybe you're hearing about this more and more on social media. I know that in some of the content and the pages that I follow, this is a conversation that comes up, the importance of regulating the nervous system. But I don't know that it necessarily gets addressed the way that it needs to get addressed, because sometimes things just kind of become cliche, they become trendy, and so there's a lot of talk around things, but not a lot of helpful tools as to how do you regulate your nervous system. What does it look like when your nervous system isn't regulated? So let's kind of like hit on those key points, right? So your nervous system can become out of balance and become dysregulated just through doing life. So if you're someone who went through a lot of stress and a lot of trauma as a child, that can have far-reaching implications for your nervous system. So even if you're doing all the right things, if your nervous system isn't regulated, no matter how hard you try, it seems like you just can't seem to get to where you want to go in terms of your overall health and well-being. If you go through an intensely traumatic event, it can take an incredibly long time for your nervous system to come back into balance. And this is actually something that you have to work at. It's not something that just magically happens, because what happens in our body is our body becomes habituated to this chronic stress response. So even though that event or that trauma is not currently happening, our body is automatically responding to everything in its environment from that heightened response. And so knowing that, only you know your life story and your history. But if you know you're someone who went through a lot of traumatic events as a child, or you went through a lot of stress over the course of your life, it's really, really important to take a little bit of a step back and really assess where you're at currently. Like, is there a lot of tension in your body? Do you have pain or inflammation in certain parts of your body? That constant pain and inflammation also tends to fire up the nervous system and fires up our body because things are out of balance. So I'll just speak about this from my experience yesterday of flying, is that because flying tends to stress me out and it gets me in a more heightened response, I hold tension in my body. So by the end of yesterday, my whole left side was in so much chronic pain. So, what are the things that I did to regulate it? Well, number one, I made sure that I was hydrating myself properly and nourishing myself properly. So I was having my superfoods, drinking my molecular hydrogen water, doing breath work, and of course, going to bed and having some sleep helped big time, right? Getting some sleep. Sleep is so powerful for helping to lower the stress response in your body and helping to calm your nervous system down. So if you are someone who is chronically sleep deprived, it is going to create a heightened stress response in your body. Your body perceives a lack of sleep as a point of stress, right? So sometimes we go without sleep thinking, well, it's not a big deal, but actually a lack of sleep is actually seen as a state of emergency from your body's perspective. So it's really important to look at not how you're thinking about things, but to really look at the response that your body is giving you in response to different things that are going on. So I made sure that I was hydrating and nourishing myself properly. I made sure to get as much sleep as possible. And then the two things that I find always help to regulate and calm my nervous system is doing meditation and breath work and doing some yoga. So just doing those things, I feel so much better in my body today than I did yesterday. And so there are these key tools that we can utilize on a daily, consistent basis to help our body out. And oftentimes the thing that I see with a lot of people is that they wait too long. Their body has been this out of regulation for a long time, and then something happens that becomes the tipping point, and they just keep going, almost like in fast forward in the wrong direction. So if you want your nervous system to calm down and you just you take assessment of what's happened and you recognize that your body has gone through a lot of stress and a lot of nervous system dysregulation, then make it your daily practice to do certain things to help support your body on its health journey. I know that life can be busy and it can be hectic, but this can literally be a case of swapping out habits and making some better habits. But I just want to go back to this idea of just nervous system dysregulation in general. So especially if you're dealing with a chronic health issue and you're trying to get your body to heal itself, you have to tackle regulating your nervous system first. Otherwise, every single thing that you're trying to do to get your body to be healthy isn't going to work the way that you would like it to work. And it's going to create more and more imbalance over time. And you're going to feel frustrated and angry because you're not getting the results that you want. So nervous system regulation always starts first, because if you can start there and you can calm and relax your body down, then everything that you do to help support it is going to have a bigger impact. And here's the other thing is, depending on what it is that is creating that imbalance in your body. Some things are going to take longer than others to heal. So you really have to give yourself some grace and have patience for yourself. So case in point, somebody that I know, that a client of mine, she had an engagement split up, I guess late last year. She was engaged to someone, and this person decided to end their relationship, and she's heartbroken, understandably so. It hasn't even been 4 months. And she's like, I don't understand why I'm so upset and why I can't just get over it. And I said, because your body's going through a process. You're going through this process, and it was a shock to your system. And so it's going to take some time to move through it. Even for myself, when I think back, the most I had a very, very traumatic childhood. I went through a lot of, abuse and neglect and all kinds of stuff. So that wired my nervous system a certain way. And then when my husband passed away back in 2012, because of how it happened, it was such a shock to my system that there are aspects of my nervous system, even today in 2025, that I'm still working on healing. And it is a daily practice. And so to me, it really is about figuring out the best tools that are going to support you on your journey of helping to support your nervous system to regulating itself. And then very patiently, very lovingly practicing those things over and over and over again, and just trusting the process and using your practice as this container, as this loving container for your body to take care of it and to help it to become, better, to become stronger, to become healthy again, right? So some of the things that I know absolutely work is sleeping. Sleep is so important because it helps calm your body down. It lowers the stress levels, it lowers inflammation, and it helps support a regulated nervous system. I know for myself, when I don't get enough sleep, everything that happens the following day, if there are stressful events that happen, they stress me out more. So it's important for you to make sure that you're optimizing your sleep. Get away from your screens at least an hour to 2 hours before bedtime. Do some breath work or meditation before you go to bed, practice gratitude, find ways to just kind of calm yourself down before you go to sleep. So that's the first thing. Optimizing your nutrition and your hydration is very, very key, because we can actually be eating foods that create a stress response in our body. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of processed sugars, a lot of junk food, that creates a lot of stress in your digestive system. And especially anything that is really creating a lot of insulin spikes, that can create imbalance within your body as well. So you want to be mindful of that. So cleaning up your diet is key. And then there are things that help to calm our nervous system down. So practices like yoga, especially slow moving practices like yin and restorative, those are two powerful practices. And I think the busier someone is, like if you're someone who's go, go, go all the time, really look into taking some yin or some restorative practices, because that is going to help to calm your nervous system down, get you out of that fight or flight response, and get you into a parasympathetic response. A lot of people that are go-getters and highly motivated, they're used to they're used to operating on one speed, which is warp speed, and they're going all the time. And what they're not recognizing is that it's actually overwhelming their nervous system and creating a lot of stress and imbalance within the body. So as important as it is to take action, it's also equally important to also rest your body. So doing some yin, doing restorative, doing breath work. I have videos on my YouTube channel where I share about meditation and some breathwork exercises. So definitely practice those and get in the habit of doing those things every single day. So, for example, for myself, meditation, breathwork, yoga, that's a daily practice. That's not something that I do when I'm stressed out and things are going sideways. That's a part of my lifestyle. That's how I take care of myself. So I always get up a little bit earlier so that I can meditate, so that I can do some yoga, so I can do some mobility work. And that way I'm grounded and centered in my body before I start my day. So whatever that looks like for you, it doesn't have to be like some 3-hour practice. Even give yourself 30 minutes before you have to get your day started. 30 minutes. Do like, 10 minutes of meditation, do 20 minutes of yoga and breath work, and you'll start to notice a shift within yourself and how you feel in your body. Then the other thing is to take some time and see if you can get outside in nature, right? Especially if you can be either near the water or near trees. When we are out in nature, we're breathing in the microbes that are in the atmosphere, and that actually has a profound impact on our gut microbiome. So 90% of the serotonin in your body is in your gut. Most of the dopamine in your body, like 40% of it, is also in your gut. And when we are taking care of our gut health, it actually takes care of our mental health as well and helps to steady and calm our body. Ever notice that when you go out in nature and you're whether you go for a bike ride, whether you go for a hike or a run, when you come back, you always feel good. And the reason is because the microbes that are out in nature are different from the microbes that we have in our indoors spaces. And so it's really, really important to get out there and be in nature because we ourselves are nature. The other thing that I want to hit on real quick is a lot of people are dealing with some variation of adrenal stress or adrenal fatigue. And the reason for that is that most people these days, we live a really busy lifestyle. We live very hectic pace. And so for a lot of people, their adrenal glands are really, really depleted. And that can create more imbalance and dysregulation within the body, especially since the adrenal glands are so important for many, many aspects of our health. So some of the ways that you can support your adrenal glands is stinging nettle tea. Stinging nettle tea is one of my favorites. It's also very, very good for kidney health. When you go to get it, try to get loose leaf. Don't get the tea in the tea bags because often those tea bags have microplastics and things in them that you don't want to be putting into your body. So try and get the loose leaf tea. Drink like a couple of cups of stinging nettle tea every single day. If you're in a state where you're feeling tired and depleted all the time, and especially if you're feeling like really, really emotional, your adrenals could be very depleted. And I've gone through complete adrenal fatigue. When your adrenals are in that state, it can take sometimes up to 2 years to actually help support and regenerate them. And in order to regenerate them, you want to avoid things like coffee. You want to avoid stimulants because you want your adrenals to regenerate themselves. However, minerals are very, very helpful for supporting your adrenal glands. So what you can do is start to incorporate green superfoods because those have a lot of mineral supports that you can have for your body and for your adrenals. And then the other thing you can do is if you're really depleted is you can put some Celtic sea salt underneath your tongue and just let that dissolve. Source something that is clean, that doesn't have any heavy metals in it. And you would be doing that sea salt, like I would say half a teaspoon for about 2 weeks to help bring up the mineral content in your body and to help support your adrenals. And then after that, you can probably wean off of it. I also love something like ionic elements from Purium. I utilize that. I utilize the Power Shake and some of the other green shakes because those greens are very, very nourishing for the adrenal glands. And one of the things that I like to do is first thing in the morning is I will have my molecular hydrogen and my super aminos, but then right after that, I will have a green shake because I want to make sure that I'm giving my adrenals mineral support. And the reason that I'm so conscientious about my adrenals is, like a lot of people and a lot of entrepreneurs, I tend to be on the go a lot and I'm juggling many, many different things. And there is an inherent stress component that is a part of my life. So, as a part of that, I make sure that I'm giving my body the extra supports that it needs. That said, you can be doing all the right things. And if you are someone who has been going through periods of stress, maybe you've gone through some trauma, either you're going through something right now or you've gone through it in the past, it's incredibly important to just be patient with the process, trust your body, make it a commitment to keep doing the practices that you know are going to support your nervous system and help regulating it, and stay away from the stimulants, stay away from things that are artificial, because even if it gives you a little bit of reprieve, it often doesn't actually address the root. So we want to get to the root and help calm your nervous system down so it's not in that constant fight or flight response. It's in that rest and digest response. And when that happens, it's great because not only is your body able to heal more deeply, but you're just going to feel better. Like you're going to feel like you're actually settled in your own skin, and that feels amazing. So, I always like to do a mindset. I hope that helps. Interestingly, on the health side, I'm right now in the midst of I'm doing a little experiment right now. I am in the midst of doing a 4-month blood reset, and part of that reset is about helping support the body to eliminate chemicals and toxins and heavy metals and microplastics and things that are really not supposed to be in our system. Oftentimes, because we've had to deal with these things within our body our entire lives, we just kind of think like, okay, well, my body can handle it. But when we have these foreign things in our system, it creates a stress response in the body, which creates dysregulation as well. So I have been playing with this for the last couple of weeks, have definitely felt a difference in my skin, in my body, in how I've been able to operate in my day to day. So if you're curious about this at all, send me a message or put it in the comments and I can respond to that. A little reminder, I do have a program called Elevate, which is focused on addressing the root causes of chronic illness and imbalance within the body. So if you are someone who has been dealing with autoimmune conditions, thyroid problems, diabetes, anything that you're really, really struggling with, this program is focused on using cutting edge adjustments to diet and lifestyle, as well as some very, very well placed biohacks to help support your body back towards health and vitality. And, you know, I've been in sort of the holistic health space now for many, many years. And one of the things that I love to do is find ways to have my protocols be as efficient as possible. I've tried a lot of things over the years. I know what works, what doesn't work, and I know how frustrating it can get when you're trying all of these different things. And so one of the things that I love about the protocols that I create is I bring in modalities that I feel are going to move the needle the most in someone's health journey. And I think that's really important because a lot of people are struggling. They want answers. They want to feel better in their body. And so all of the tools that I utilize are really to help create that as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So make sure that you check out the caption below the video, check out the membership, check out Elevate. And I have live weekly calls for that program. And that is an opportunity for you to bring your questions, bring your insights, and share where you are on your journey so I can help support you. So, excuse me for that. I want to do a little bit of a mindset piece because I love doing the mindset part of all of my different videos, the lives that I do on YouTube, because it's not like we're not just our physical body, we're not just our mental body, we're not just our emotional body. It's all of how all of this comes together. And the mindset piece is really, really important. So just over a week ago, I went and I did a 1-day workshop. It was incredibly powerful because it allowed me to make some pretty important shifts in my own mindset as I step into my day, as I work with all of my clients and my business partners. And it was, even though it was like an 8-hour workshop, it was so profound in terms of just how much it shifted how I look at things going forward. So, I wanna leave you with like a big a mindset shift that can help you in your day-to-day life to make you as impactful as possible. So one of the big takeaways that I got from this workshop was that in order for me to really create and to serve at the highest level possible, I have to, for myself, take care of myself in the best way possible. Because the better I am, the more emotionally grounded I am, the more physically healthy I am, the more compassionate and caring I am, the more I can actually do the things it is that I say that I want to do. Now, what I notice for so many people is that they're struggling in their health, they're struggling in many, many aspects of their life, and they're not taking care of themselves. They're putting themselves absolutely last. And I find this especially true for women. Women can be the worst. We can be the worst at this because we're used to prioritizing everyone else. And so if you can put yourself at the top of your list, if you can start to prioritize your own health, your own well-being, your own mindset, what that's going to do is that when you step into your day to do whatever it is that you do and however it is that you bring value to this world, you're going to be able to do it from this very abundant place where you're in overflow. You have so much energy, so much vitality, and you're just able to give and give and give of yourself. But the reason that you can give of yourself in that way is that because you gave to yourself first. And then the other thing is just really trusting the universe and the process, and trusting that no matter what is going on around you, that your needs, your desires, your fulfillment is always taken care of. That when you show up with your best, at your best, to serve others and to help others, that you will also be provided for, you will also be taken care of. And this was such a powerful insight for me in that workshop that I took, is that even in the worst times in my life, when things were kind of like, blowing up in a not good way, I was still taken care of. I was still divinely protected and guided. And now I'm actually so excited to do the internal work on myself, to dissolve resentments, to dissolve, any comparison or anything that is blocking my light, my energy. I'm so excited to do that internal work because I know it's going to make me a better person. And then the better I am, the better I can show up for absolutely everyone around me. And when I'll speak from my own experience, having made that subtle shift, I have so much energy and vitality on a day-to-day basis. And every conversation I have the ability to be very present and to offer insight and to offer wisdom and to offer support depending on what the situation is. And I can do it from a place of abundance, from no worry about like, what about me? Will I be taken care of? I'm just like I trust 100% I am taken care of. And I am being guided and I'm being protected. And it's just that little shift of, okay, I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to do what I need to do for myself. And then now that that is taken care of, I can show up for others in a big way, in an abundant way. And then just letting that energy continue to move and flow. Just that little shift, what I've seen in the last week, I've seen so many things start to shift in my life. And it's been incredibly powerful and incredibly rewarding. So I want to thank you for choosing to be here, to watching this video live, or if you're catching the replay, thanks for catching the replay. Please feel free to share this video with anyone who needs to see it. And I want to thank you for being a part of my online community. If you are not already subscribed to this channel, to this page, please subscribe. It allows me to continue to create content for you and to keep putting this message forward in the world. Make sure that you check out Elevate and all of my offerings in the caption as well. And I will see you in next week's live. Next week's live will be at its usual time on Monday, which is at about 2:15 Eastern, 11:15 Pacific. So until then, bye for now, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.